There was a time where I go online to look up dates because sharing my house with my only self is kind of lonely. I looked it up girls, an interesting website like OnlyFans, Monkey, all type of website I can find until I one day I bucked up on this website and I find this girl. Her name was Sarah. She was beautiful and we were talking for some while until one day she said she wanted to meet me in person. I agreed and I told her, where can we meet? And she said she know a really good restaurant and we will meet there at 9 o'clock. We will meet at 9. I was happy at that time because I was going to settle down with the perfect girl in my life. When the clock struck 9 o'clock, I was getting ready to go for my date. I sprayed on a lot of deodorant, making the ambulance sweet. My cat irritated to the sweetness and ran off. I smiled, seeing my cat weird behavior, and I arrived to the Starbucks restaurant. When I was in the restaurant, I was looking around because there was not much people in the restaurant, just one old lady in the restaurant. It was completely empty and deserted. I was thinking to myself, why does she want to meet here? Is this a prank? Is this a joke? The old lady stared at me with big wide eyes. She looked up at me and said, she looked up at me and smiled in a flirtation manner. I was saying, what was going on here? But I smiled to not make it look away, and I just walked off and went to my seat to wait on my date. I texted her, but she said traffic was a problem, so I waited. Next, meanwhile I was waiting, I decided to play some game until my date arrived. I was sitting down and playing my games for some while when I see the old woman was walking to me. To be honest, I didn't like this old woman present because it kind of creepy. When she arrived to my chair and table, she just looked at me. Just stand there looking at me in a flirtation manner. I wanted to say something, but I didn't say anything. Next, she approached me and said, can I get something for you, darling? The ear in the back of my neck stood up when I heard darling. What was this woman's problem? She was old enough to be my mother. I just smirked and said, no thank you. I'm just waiting for my date. She said, okay, it looks like your date is late. I wouldn't sit here if I were you, and she chuckled and walked off, swinging her hips in an attractive manner. I was saying it in my mind, yuck, what was this woman's problem? She been bugging me from the single time I come in here. I just sit and wait for my date. She smiled really broadly and really creepy. The way she looked at me almost like someone stabbed me in the heart. I just look around feeling really confused because what was this woman thinking? Then I see my date barged in. She was finally here. She looked a little bit fat, but she was charming. Finally, she arrived. I waved at her, feeling really happy. And she sat down and said, oh my God, I'm sorry. Traffic was a problem. I said, no problem. You're here now. Let's get on with the date. I said in my mind, finally, my day arrived. That old woman can stop staring at me now. I talked it to her for some while, and she was pretty funny and attractive. I was talking to my date for some time. When I feel that woman staring at me, I got up and smirked. I said to this woman, why are you staring at us? Do you have a problem with us? She said, no, nothing is wrong. But I said in my mind, why are you staring at us then? Meanwhile, I was talking to this old woman. I was thinking in my mind still, is this was a setup? She looked at me while taking my order. Then she clammed down her book on the desk and she said, nothing is wrong, sweetie. I just been having a bad day. I said, okay. She said, it's nothing to be worried about. I'll be there with your order soon. She said, okay. Just don't. She said, okay, while smirking and put down the bill. and then walked off. She looked it angry, but I don't care. I just glad I get that off my chest. Next, I talked to my date for some time, and it was getting really nice talking to her. She was attractive, nice, and comfy to talk to, and it feel like I could tell her all my secrets and my struggles. But when that old woman approached us with two milkshakes, I snapped. She stand there looking at us. And next my date said what leave me shocking forever. This is my mother. She smiled. And I need to tell you something. I said, this old hag is your mother? She said, yes, this is my mother. And I said, what? She said, how can this be your mother? She said, she's my mother. And I said, what? She said, yes, we really like you. So my intentions was to come here and you can date the two of us, and if you like one of us better, you can just take us. I said, what? I was saying in my mind, what do I get myself into? This is not good. I smirked. I was being really confused that moment. I said, what have I gotten myself into? My friend used to tell me that dating online, talking to a person what you don't know online, was really creepy. But I didn't listen to them. I just go with the flow. But the old woman seems happy, she said, while charging at one of the drinks she made. My date said, what, mom? She said, what? I just want to have a little fun. Can a old woman have a little fun? And she laughed. My date said, no, mom, this is not right. Just leave. I want to have him. The old woman said, no, you cannot have him. He's already taken, because I'm going to show this boy what it means to be loved. Then I got up, and then she got up and showed one of the hot chocolate on her mouth. It burned. She screamed in pain. And then what happened in front of my eyes? The two of them started fighting, mother and daughter. They were pulling each other ear, and then they tackled on the ground. The mother poked her finger into the daughter's eyes, and then the daughter started screaming. She said, you cannot have him. He's mine. They rushed down. The mother said, they started talking. And they were talking some nonsense things that not even make sense. She said, you cannot have him, he's mine. Then the daughter grabbed onto the mother's hair and slashed out her brains. Blooded mother, they screamed on the ground. I looked it around, feeling disgusted because of what was happening in front of me, my eyes. This was happening all because of me. She opened up her eyes, was screaming in pain, and then she fainted on the floor. Then the daughter didn't stop her. She smashed out her mother's head. Bash, bash, bash. You cannot have him. Bash, bash, bash. She smashed out her mother's brain. Bash, 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 bash. Until the mother was no more. Brains and chunks of flesh fly across the room like it was a rainbow. And then she dropped the tray on the floor. And then she got up and smiled really broadly. And then she looked at me and said, this is what happened to this crazy bitch. She go on to say she would never disturb us again, and chuckled. When the police come and took her away, she said, she blew me a kiss and said, she would never disturb us again. I'll see you soon. Mwah. I couldn't even know what I was seeing. I deleted my profile and blocked her from all of my accounts. I would never think I would able to get over this incident again, and I would never go online again.